It's kinda hard to wrap your mind around how uncontrollably hostile and vicious our good companions, dogs, can be. But when the situation requires it, these good boys will turn into exceptionally violent beasts. And no matter which predator they end up facing, they will always leave them with scars for life, which is exactly what we're about to see today. Two Dobermans discovered a large snake here, and they demonstrated coordinated hunting tactics that proved lethal for the reptile. The dogs executed a strategic pincer movement, attacking from opposite sides to divide the snake's attention. The moment the snake attempted to strike one dog, it created a fatal opening. The second Doberman seized the opportunity, catching the snake in its jaws. Driven by instinctive fear of the snake's venomous potential, the dog initiated a violent shaking assault designed to prevent any chance of retaliation. The snake's death proved insufficient to satisfy the dog's aggressive response, even after the reptile had clearly succumbed. The Doberman continued its savage attack with undiminished intensity, determined to utterly destroy its opponent. Chance timing allowed a bystander to capture an unexpected confrontation between a Doberman and a Coyote at the edge of an open field here. The wild canine's initial reaction spoke volumes, freezing in place upon spotting the domestic dog. Tension mounted during the brief standoff as the Coyote visibly lost confidence, its body language betraying growing anxiety. The Doberman's mere presence proved increasingly intimidating to its wild cousin, creating a clear psychological advantage before any physical confrontation began. The breaking point came when the Doberman made its first aggressive move forward. The Coyote's nerves shattered completely, triggering an immediate flight response. The wild canine bolted at full speed with the Doberman in hot pursuit, both animals disappearing from the cameraman's view as the chase carried them beyond the field. A remarkable display of training and tactical mastery unfolded as a single Doberman pinscher faced down 5 Coyotes here. Despite being heavily outnumbered, the domestic dog maintained impressive composure as the wild canines attempted to outmaneuver it through coordinated circling tactics. Working in sync with its owner's guidance, the Doberman executed a defensive strategy that frustrated the Coyote's hunting patterns. Each time the pack attempted to flank or overwhelm the dog, it responded with calculated movements, either standing firm or making strategic withdrawals depending on what the situation required. The pack's increasingly futile attempts to find an opening in the Doberman's defense eventually led them to abandon the confrontation entirely. Their retreat marked an unlikely victory for the single domestic dog, whose combination of disciplined training and controlled aggression had successfully thwarted the coordinated efforts of multiple wild predators. Here's a life or death struggle that unfolded when a cougar confronted a Doberman that showed remarkable courage despite being outmatched. The confrontation began the moment the dog's barking grabbed the cougar's attention, with the cougar immediately launching its attack. Despite the cougar's superior size and strength quickly giving it the advantage, the Doberman refused to submit, even when pinned beneath the big cat, which attempted to kill it by strangulation. The dog continued its desperate resistance. The tide turned at the crucial moment when the dog's owner arrived on the scene, interrupting the cougar's lethal intentions. The predator, suddenly faced with human intervention, abandoned its attack and fled. The timing proved fortunate, as the Doberman's fierce loyalty and determination to defend its territory, though admirable, would likely have proved fatal without its owner's timely arrival. Primal aggression erupted between a Doberman and a bulldog, separated only by a providential fence here. Both dogs displayed extreme hostility, their furious barking and aggressive posturing suggesting lethal intent, if not for the barrier between them. The Doberman showed particularly intense aggression, its threatening display suggesting it would have inflicted serious damage given the opportunity. The Bulldog matched this hostility with equal ferocity, neither dog backing down from their fence-line confrontation. Each bark and snarl carried deadly promise, the fence preventing what would likely have been a savage clash. These two coyotes discovered the limits of their boldness when approaching a fenced property guarded by a pit bull. The domestic dog took up a silent, commanding position, its mere presence serving as a clear warning against further intrusion. The wild canines paused to assess their opponent, weighing their numerical advantage against the pit bull's intimidating stance. After a brief standoff, the first coyote lost its nerve and retreated, leaving its companion to maintain the confrontation alone. The remaining coyote continued its assessment before ultimately deciding the risk outweighed any potential reward. Following its partner's lead, it backed away from the property, abandoning any thoughts of confrontation. An unexpected power dynamic played out in remote terrain when a mastiff turned the tables on a wild wolf here, a moment that was captured on video by a distant observer. Despite being outmatched in raw physical attributes, the domestic dog displayed remarkable courage in confronting and pursuing the larger predator from its territory. The encounter challenged conventional wisdom about strength and dominance in canine conflicts. The mastiff's aggressive defense, driven by territorial instinct and sheer courage, proved more decisive than pure physical advantage. Forced into retreat, the exhausted wolf eventually paused, seemingly bewildered by this reversal of natural order. The wolf's retreat suggested a valuable lesson learned about venturing into defended territory, regardless of presumed physical superiority. Territorial defense turned violent when two guard dogs cornered this wolf, transforming its initial aggression into visible panic. Though the wolf responded with fierce displays, the dogs remained unfazed, methodically waiting for their opportunity to strike. Their moment came suddenly. One dog seized the wolf's neck while its partner joined the attack. The coordinated assault left the wolf pinned and helpless, overwhelmed by the domestic dog's combined strength and tactical advantage. Just when defeat seemed certain, the wolf managed to wrench itself free from their grip. Its retreat turned into a desperate flight as the dogs continued their pursuit, focusing more on driving it away than killing it. Their sustained chase and harassment suggested they were defending claimed territory, likely belonging to their owner. The wolf's terror-stricken expression during the encounter, coupled with the dog's relentless persecution, guaranteed that it wouldn't risk returning to this territory after such a decisive defeat. Lightning-quick instincts kicked in when a massive mastiff detected a wolf's attempt to raid its sheep flock from a distance here. While the panicked sheep scattered, the guard dog launched into immediate pursuit, demonstrating why these breeds are renowned flock defenders. The wolf's predatory intentions evaporated instantly upon realizing it had been spotted, its hunting strategy transforming into desperate flight. The mastiff's relentless pursuit left the predator no opportunity to regroup or counterattack. Terror drove the wolf to sprint at full speed, yet the determined mastiff maintained its chase, showing no signs of abandoning the pursuit. The predator's panic intensified as the guard dog kept pace, clearly understanding the devastating consequences of being caught by such a powerful opponent. Both animals disappeared from view, with the wolf still fleeing at top speed and the mastiff showing no sign of ending its aggressive pursuit. One-sided brutality unfolded as this domestic dog demonstrated complete dominance over a thoroughly outmatched wolf. Having knocked its opponent to the ground, the dog maintained ruthless control through a series of calculated attacks. The wolf's desperate defense focused solely on protecting its vulnerable neck from the dog's lethal intentions, and each time the struggling predator managed to regain its footing, the superior dog immediately forced it back down, maintaining devastating pressure throughout the encounter. Despite the wolf's efforts to mount any kind of resistance, the dog's combat superiority proved overwhelming. The domestic canine systematically dismantled its opponent's defenses, repeatedly asserting its dominance through precise and powerful attacks. Raw power and courage clashed when a single Doberman confronted two bloodthirsty wolves in the middle of the night here. Despite being outnumbered, the domestic dog demonstrated remarkable ferocity against two wild predators attempting to surround and overwhelm it. The wolves deployed coordinated hunting tactics, trying to flank and disorient their target by attacking from two opposite sides. However, the Doberman countered their moves with precise defensive maneuvers and powerful counterstrikes. The dog was more than willing to take on the two wolves, but once one of them was able to land a bite, the other wolf saw an opening and went in for the kill, and both wolves ended up overwhelming the fearless canine. Unfortunately, courage alone doesn't always win these fights. Here we see a potentially lethal encounter that was averted when a full-grown Kangal interrupted a wolf's attempted attack on a small dog resting by its doghouse. The wolf's hunting opportunity transformed into immediate danger when the massive guardian dog appeared. Without hesitation, the Kangal launched into protective mode, charging at the predator with clear intent. No physical clash proved necessary. The Kangal's mere presence and aggressive charge sent the wolf into retreat. Meanwhile, the small dog, seemingly oblivious to its near miss with disaster, displayed misplaced bravado by joining its protector's aggressive display. Sheer dominance triumphed over numbers when a massive alibi found itself surrounded by hungry wolves eyeing the same piece of meat here. Despite their pack advantage, the wolves' confidence wavered before the domestic guardian's imposing size and demeanor. The alibi claimed the contested meal with decisive authority, issuing a single growl that carried an unmistakable threat. Even with overwhelming numbers on their side, the wolf pack's hunger couldn't overcome their instinctive caution toward the larger, more powerful dog. Their standoff ended in the alibi's favor, with the wolf's hunger insufficient motivation to risk confronting such an obviously superior opponent. The domestic guardian retained sole possession of its prize, having dominated multiple wild predators through pure intimidation. Two wolves discovered what appeared to be an advantageous situation here, a Kangal dog restricted by a leash. Perceiving vulnerability in the confined guard dog, the predators moved to test their numerical advantage against the seemingly limited defender. The wolves initiated a cautious approach, probing for weaknesses while maintaining a safe distance. Despite the Kangal's restrictive movement, its powerful presence and defensive posture gave the wolves pause. As the standoff lengthened, the predator's initial confidence began to waver. Through their careful assessment, the wolves gradually recognized that even a leashed Kangal presented too dangerous an opponent. After weighing their options, the wolves abandoned their hunting ambitions, choosing to retreat rather than risk confrontation with the specialized guard dog. Did you enjoy this video? Please let us know in the comments section down below. And don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe to the channel while you're at it. And please, turn on your notifications bell to get notified when we upload a new video. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.